All right, we're back with another 4A coverage of the season, talking about the East Sky region, and get over there and talk over about some of those, which is going to be probably one of your more exciting regions to talk about.
It's actually one of my favorites to win.
The whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's the toughest region in 4A.
Okay.
I got two teams coming out of that East Sky region. We'll start with Apache Junction. Apache Junction is currently ranked 55, and they'll be at Peoria, who's 101. Then at Arizona College Prep, who's 65. Then they'll be at home against Barry Goldwater, who's 88. At Santan Foothills, who's a 3A team, at 100. At home against Bradshaw Mountain, who's 44. Then they're at Marcos Deniza on a Thursday night game, who's 63. After their bye, they're at Coconino, who's 79. Then they'll be at home against Poston Butte, who's 48. At home against Snowflake, who's 30th. And then wrap up at EASTMARK, who's 14. And Max Preps has them going 6-4 on the year.
And just kind of touch base. I know we try to do this every single episode that we do. We are looking at what Max Preps has ranked for these teams from last year, comparing them to their new schedule to kind of give us a grasp on what they would say are their predictions of what the season would go. Then we go ahead and throw in our opinions, whether or not we feel that they'll do a higher, lower, or about the same. So just so you guys understand what the numbers are, which you're talking about here as well. So you saying 6-4? You know what? To tell you the truth, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. What else can you tell me to kind of give me a heads up before I start saying, yeah, I'm down for the 6-4?
So Apache Junction is a team that was very senior heavy last year. So they're not going to be returning their quarterback, their running back, or their number one wide receiver. And let's put in their number 2 running back, which was also their quarterback. He was the number 2 team.
So they lost the scrambler.
They lost the scrambler. That was Gavin Lamangelo, and then you got Isaiah Savoy at running back and Garrett Garcia at wide receiver. But the thing that hurts them as well is all 3 of those guys played on defense, and they lost senior defensive linemen on top of that. So a team that was very senior heavy, and they're going to be, with everything that's growing out that way, in East Mesa, and now you got Santan Valley kind of coming up the way. And so are they going to be able to retain a lot of their talent coming into this year? So a big question mark for them as far as who's going to be the one to stand out this year.
So you're saying that Max Preps got them at 6-4. I'm going to actually flip that. I'll probably take them at a 4-6.
Okay.
Which, with all what you're telling me, I mean, losing a quarterback that's not only quick on his feet but also good with his hands obviously puts every program at a disadvantage. So I'd go 4-6 with them. Where's your angle?
I'd say I got them around there. A lot of pieces to fill coming into next year. So I'm gonna go 4-6, or I might even say 3-7.
Oh wow! Okay.
So just my opinion on that one. I know. Being that it's my Pinal County team, I'm not going to get a lot of love there. But it's just, like I said, if you go look at their stats from last year, is a team that I thought they were going to go really, really far in the playoffs. And unfortunately, they got put out by, I believe, Prescott in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, or that might have been Poston Butte.
So what you're telling us is if we go visit Apache right now, we got to worry about hatchets?
Yeah,
we might get some hatchets.
Yeah, definitely. So, but the next team we got going is going to be EASTMARK, who is the new 4A team here in the East Sky. Came up from 3A after winning the state championship last year. So they kind of, they come in as the number 14 ranked team in the state. They'll open up. It's going to be a good one at Canyon de Oro, who's number 40. Thursday night game against Combs, who's 66. At Mesquite, who is 109. Then Arizona College Prep, who's 65. Northwest Christian, who's 56. At Poston Butte, who's 48. At Desert Sunrise, who's 195. Then after their bye, they will be at home against Snowflake, who's 30th. At Marcos Deniza, who's 63. and then wrap up at home against Apache Junction, who's 55. And of course, with their ranking, Max Preps has them going 10-0. Is that something you can see happening?
I don't see that being the case. Once again, I think sometimes when you get these lower divisions or whatnot that get high ranking, it's because they do successful in their division, which by all means I applaud them for that. But the state ranking for that, when you give EASTMARK a 14, I can guarantee you I could probably name another 14 teams that could probably take them to town. I don't mean that rudely, but I'm just saying. You're getting. I would probably see them more kind of sitting in that. I'd probably like a POSTON Butte / CDO kind of Canyon Del Oro kind of ranking or whatnot. I don't see them doing a 10-0 on here at all. What I see is more or less. I'll give them probably a 6-4, 7-3 kind of situation. I do think that the program's big and strong. I mean, I've seen them come out in numbers. They're extremely successful. They're a very dominant team to play. Somebody like Thatcher, like they did last year in the championships, and play them almost a dominantly role kind of thing. Not dominant. Sorry, Jones. I know Jones is going to yell at me. But I got a lot of respect for EASTMARK. I just don't think the number 14 ranking is what it is. So when you're looking at these Max Preps rankings and kind of coming up with these so-called things, I just think it just falls short. Give me 6-4, 7-3, and I'll be happy with them.
I agree. 7-3, somewhere around there. For me, definitely a team you got to see. Look at their roster. Unfortunately, I don't have theirs in front of me right now, but. It was a team that I felt was pretty senior heavy, but another team that has a lot of depth too. So
new program, a lot of things that we got to learn.
Exactly. And so I definitely agree with you at 7-3. Now you move into Marcos Deniza, who is currently ranked 63. They'll be opening up against Yuma Catholic. Then they're on the road for the next two games at McClintock, who's 123, at Fountain Hills, who's 119. And then back home against Yunker, who's 116. At Corona del Sol, who's 26. The Thursday night matchup against Apache Junction, who's 55. Then after their bye week, they're on the road at Snowflake, who's 30th. At home against Lake Havasu, who's 42. At home against EASTMARK, who's 14. And then on the road at POSTON Butte, who's 48. And Max Preps has them going 3-7.
I'm actually going to say I think that Marcos Denizes might be a little better than this at the 3-7. The reason why, and actually circle that date, that Thursday game against Apache Junction. This could be one on the 29th of, actually that would be the 28th. I apologize. You might want to kind of circle that one as being one of those games that could go or help them out, obviously, with the situations that we discussed with Apache Junction. So I'm going to kind of say Marcos Deniza could do better than this. I'd have to look at all the stats or everything that's going on with Marcos Deniza.
And I believe they were a playoff team last year, if I'm not mistaken. Or if not, they were right on the edge of possibly making it. So definitely have to look into that. I think they're a 500 ball club. Okay. Honestly, they played opened up against one of my teams in Vista Grande last year. I was able to watch that on NFHS. They were playing at NAU, and they went to town on Vista Grande. So it's a team that could possibly be right around there. But like I said, this region right here.
So let me throw this out at you, just because we're having fun. The 3 wins that Max Preps has given them is obviously the 123 McClintock, the Fountain Hills, which was ranked at 119, and Yonkers that was at 116. Who are you giving the two other? Who's getting the 2 L's?
I would say probably the Apache Junction game, and then if I throw a team out there, maybe POSTON Butte. That one I want to see. It might be a toss up there. I'll save the reason why when we get to POSTON Butte.
Okay.
But what about?
I mean, maybe look at that Lake Havasu, only because they don't reload as quick as maybe like an inner city team, like a POSTON Butte. I don't know. Once again, this is kind of out of my realm on this one. I'm a South guy.
No, I got you. And like I said, with these teams always constantly moving around each and every year, it's like we're always learning about a new team every year. And then when I get into baseball and basketball, it's kind of like the regions are completely different, and
right.
So it's all I'm learning.
What you're also seeing here as well is that you got a lot of teams fighting, right, for that 5 and 5.
Yes.
Or at least round that. Like, you don't have these dominant 10 and 0s. Even when we were talking about EASTMARK, you don't really have these dominant programs because the regions are stronger.
Mm-hmm.
That, it's kind of like, hey, let's see what you got.
It's gonna get scary.
It could go any way. And so it's going to be interesting to see who makes these playoffs. But let's talk about POSTON Butte since you brought them up.
So POSTON Butte, they're currently ranked 48th. They'll be opening up at home against Micah Mountain. Then they're on the road the next 3 games at Copper Canyon, who's 200, at Campo Verde, who's 45, at Round Valley, who's 79, and then they're back home against Round Valley was 77, and then they're back home against Coconino, who's 79, home against EASTMARK, who's 14, then at Snowflake, who's 30th. Then after their bye, they're on the road at Apache Junction, who's 55. At home, the last 2 games against Gila Ridge, who's 130, and then Marcos Deniza, who's 63. And so Max Preps has them going 7-3. So I'll give you a little insight on POSTON Butte. POSTON Butte, a very, very run-heavy team. One of the very few in 4A.
Okay.
So don't really throw the ball. They did lose their starting running back. They lost their best receiving option in Connor Lopez, and he also played a big role on defense. But I know they lost a few more pieces on defense. But with Coach Thompson, he always seems to develop great running backs,
Gotcha.
And that's always the big plus for POSTON Butte is that they're kind of like a Thatcher. They stick to what gets them, to be such a dominant team that it always starts with their running back. So if you look over the course of the last few years, even though their running back is a senior each and every year, they are always, I think, over 1,000 yards rushing. So
they just reload on
Yeah, they reload right there in that position. So 7-3, do you think that would be where POSTON Butte would be?
I mean, I think if you're shaking up everything inside this division or region, I should say, not knowing who EASTMARK is, not knowing, I don't know if I'm gonna go 7-3. You know what? Yeah, why not? Let's ride out the 7-3. Let's see who we're actually giving them away to, though. They're saying Copper Canyon's one. Micah Mountain's going to definitely be a challenge. I wouldn't give that an easy day off. Round Valley always plays difficult, but I'd probably give them that one. Coconino, give that one as well. Like, honestly, the 3 losses are coming from decent teams. Snowflake. Let's see who else.
EASTMARK
in Campo Verde. I mean, you know what? I'll give it to him 7-3.
7-3. Okay, I got them around 7-3. I want to say that it was either them or Apache Junction who beat Snowflake last year. So I'll definitely have to look that up and see that one because.
I mean,
game, they play each other really well.
They do also have the weakest strength of schedule in the region, which is an interesting that could go with definitely their direction as well.
So I would say 7-3. Depending on that Marcos Deniza game, what type of team they are, could be a 6-4, or possibly if they're able to pick up a win against EASTMARK or Snowflake. Yeah. 8-2. So 7-3 is really good for me regarding POSTON Butte. But let's go into the final team in the region, which is going to be Snowflake. And correct me if I'm wrong, Snowflake made it to the semifinals or to the state championship last year?
Now you're going to drop that on me.
Oh, I was going to say, they did really good. It was another team that...
Stop dropping that stuff on me.
It was another team that came up
Actually,
from 3A.
I do believe that it was Snowflake, and I would think... Did they beat CDO?
For the state championship, I think. They might be the defending.
You're going to go ahead, pull it up.
I definitely will. So with Snowflake, they're currently ranked 30th. They'll be opening up the first 2 games on the road. They'll be at Bradshaw Mountain, who's 44, at Cactus, who's 19. Then they'll face a 3A opponent, which is a big rivalry up in the mountain area, as they'll be playing Sholo, who's 35. Then they'll have their bye, and after their bye, they're on the road against Gilbert, who's 61. Home against Seton Catholic, who's 129. Poston Butte, who's 48. Marcos Deniza, who's 63. Then at EASTMARK, who's 14. At Apache Junction, who's 55. And then they'll wrap up their season against Sierra Linda at home, who is 142. So with that, Max Preps has them going 8-2. How's that one looking for you?
I'm sitting here trying to look up your thing. So Snowflake, I mean, once again, as if they were, I think you run into that same situation. You got a dominant region here. Snowflake comes in. Obviously, one thing that I'll say here is they got the hardest schedule in the region. Mm-hmm. I'll give them that one. Playing teams like Cactus. Bradshaw Mountain's no joke. Sholo will get you. I mean, I think 8-2 might be a little high for me. Might go a little lower only because some of the teams they are playing are just like you can't sleep on them.
Yeah, and so they ended up losing to ALA Gilbert North. They beat CDO the week before by 3 points. So
they went to the playoffs? Was that what it was?
Snowflake?
Yes.
Yeah. They actually made it to the state championship, but losing to ALA Gilbert North 28-14.
I'd like to know who they actually have coming back and everything like that. Unfortunately, like I always say, I don't know. So
no, but for me, I mean,
I think 8-2 is high.
It is, but I think they are always capable. I mean, the Snowflake, they were real dominant in 3A, move up to 4A, and like there's teams that can sit there and adjust to the next division up, and they're one of those teams.
Yeah, Thatcher.
And yeah, they're definitely like a Thatcher. And so with that being said, 8-2, I like that. I will say possibly maybe no lower than a 7-3 on the year. So 8-2, I'm liking where
I
they're at.
say 8-2 is high. Give me 7-3, 6-4 low.
Okay, well, that'd be a good one. And I gotta ask you.
Oh crap! Here we go.
Best region in 4A, in my opinion. Who you gonna give that edge to?
Ugh. It's a tight one here because unfortunately, I don't know these regions or this region very well at all. I'm probably going away from let's say like this. I think EASTMARK struggles a little bit just because they got to get their toes wet. I think Apache Junction probably at this point could be looking at possibly the back end of this 5-team region. So they might be the bottom seed, which is kind of now I'm really going to get a hatchet if we go to the game. I'll you know what? Throw me in between Poston Butte and Snowflake, and I'll be all right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to go with Snowflake.
Okay.
Like I said, I really like what they do. I'm in the same boat as you. Give me Snowflake or give me Poston Butte. I'm gonna be fine there, but I will give a little bit of the edge to Snowflake, and could be beneficial for them just based off strength of schedule.
I think those Broncos are going to come stampede over you.
Oh man, I know, and just wait till we start revealing those games of the week. There's a big one circled for them, but like I said, I love Coach Thompson, what he does out there, man, and they're always this. Everybody in this region is a playoff team if you look at it. It just they happen to have to play each other.
Maybe we shouldn't have put out this before we got the OKs and maybe do a game or something up there. But other than that, looks like we got another one wrapped up. So we're going to be back at this again. So make sure you tune in, and make sure another thing, guys, push the follow and like or subscribe button, because we are trying to get as many people as we can on this YouTube channel and get all the information out to you guys as quick as possible. So we'll check you out next time.